You guys, I had 2 whole days off from my life. Let's talk about it. Welcome, I'm Tracy. This is my channel, Tracy from the Mermaid Cove, and I took 2 days. I had the whole weekend off. And I unplugged. I went on Instagram once to find a banana bread recipe I had done something with. Yeah, I didn't text, I didn't scroll, I had my phone down, I read and rested, and my arm, had a shot in my arm, and I'm trying to really honor letting it rest. So, y'all, I did kind of what I felt like doing. So I did a little bit in the garage, cleaned my bathroom, just sort of meandered. Because I'd just been so productive for so long, and I haven't had a weekend like this. And it wasn't a weekend just where I'm depressed or upset. It was just a restful, low-key weekend. And my Adderall is not at its best. So soon, at the end of this week, I think I get a new one. And yeah, so I just thought, let's just rest, right? And so one of the things I did, I got these ages ago at Hergé, I mean, long time ago. And they're Mondo Llama, MONDOLLAMA. It's their line of paint. And I remembered them. I'm like, you know what? Let's paint dots, right? I have a project I'm working on, and I don't feel like even doing that. Like, I didn't feel like hunting up all the supplies. So I'm just gonna paint, build my stash, my fodder, my stash. So, how fun are these colors? Cheap as acrylic as you can get, right? They have all kinds of cool names, and it just made me happy. It makes me happy. If it makes you happy. And yeah, so I had to look at my book. I know that I have a conflicting appointments. I have an eye appointment Wednesday I forgot about, and I gotta change it. I'm off Wednesday because I got my bone density, and I have my mammogram, and one other thing, I can't remember. But yeah, so I gotta kind of get re-emerge into my life, and yeah, making banana bread. So if you want banana bread, y'all, you gotta make it. You can't go to the store and buy it. It tastes yummy. It tastes yummy, but they have chemicals. So you're eating banana bread, and they've got chemicals. Anyway, and these bananas are like screaming. Like, if I waited till tomorrow, nope. Anyway, I set everything out last night, and apparently I had one of my, I don't know if it was a reel taken down or something, but I don't know if it's because I was making someone's recipe. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not going to give any measurements because you guys, I think I settled on Sally's Baking Addiction. But I just put in banana bread and looked, and hers seemed to be, yeah, the one that I like the best. Beverly and I made so much banana bread during the pandemic, and Trader Joe's has a mix. You don't even need bananas. So, toxic. Ate tons of apples. Clara, Moira, and Joanna are not up yet. So yesterday, we're letting Moira out a little bit. And I'd gone upstairs, and my roommate had left. And she said, I think Moira's in your room. So I go in there, and I forgot about it. I'm sitting on all of a sudden. Whoosh, I have not seen a cat move that fast in a long time, because she's young. Girl was felt so bad. I felt like she flew. She didn't really. It was whoosh. Anyway, I think Clara's smell is getting a little better because I've been giving her drops, and now she just sits. Clara, there's a cat, Moira. okay? She just doesn't look. But Joanna said when I'm not here, she'll come up to me. She'll come up to her and let her pet her. Progress. I think when I'm here, she acts up more. Claire, can you tell everyone? Anyway. So new work week. So Wednesday will be my early day, getting up, getting in the garage. Ooh, you guys, I have the vets coming. That's okay, I have enough to put out. Okay. All right, y'all, let's start a list. I didn't make a list either. Like, we were list free. We do that. And I'm gonna do some laundry. So I'm gonna make banana bread and I'm gonna make quiche. And I have some hamburger. So I thought what I would do is do some taco meat and throw some black beans in. Yeah. I have some spinach. I didn't make fruit smoothies. I really should have. I forget at the time I could actually make them. I'm gonna show you. She's so good. Clara. So I hope she's nice to Moira, because Moira is going to be nice to her because she's a little baby cat. Anyway. It felt good. You know what felt good? Is being restful, but not feeling like being myself, feeling guilty. Went through the old dictionary and started painting. I gotta cut that. I just tell you, I can't, how satisfying. This is just the cheapest acrylic you can get. But what I'm going to start doing is jelly prints. So much I want to do. Beverly and I canceled because for her birthday, so I have that to look forward to. She, believe it or not, she lives in one of the most congested areas, so I'm going to say, to get on and off at the Beltway. And they had the ramps closed both ways. And she would have to go all the way to this Tyson's Corner, which is like crazy busy. And of course, it would have been worse because everyone had to use it. So we postponed it, which is fine. I need some X's, and oh, they want you. I love this color, y'all. Just to sit there, and I'm sorry, I'm gearing up for trial. So the only thing I'm listening to is stuff about the Dan Markel case. And I did indulge. I did. And then I found a couple of new people. There's a woman called Patty's Playhouse. She fascinates me. So she's a really interesting human being. That's what's so interesting about YouTube. And not everyone, but you get to kind of, I think what people like about me is this is it, right? I'm not putting on lights and a makeup and have a persona or, you know, my YouTube personality. It's just me. And she's that, but she's a fascinating woman. She, one thing, her hair is amazing. She's an undercut and this kind of, she's fascinating. So she came from, Pennsylvania, and she's got a true, Pennsylvania accents are very different. To me, they're like Midwest, but flatter. It's very strange. Anyway, she's very much, to me, a Pennsylvania accent. Y'all, I'm from Maryland. We're south of the Mason-Dixon line, so we're southern. Okay. They call Mid-Atlantic region. No, we're southern. But I grew up in southern Maryland. Anyway, so Patty's Playhouse is what it's called. But she, so from what I piecing together, she was a nurse and worked in, so she had a terrible divorce, I think, and moved down to Florida. And she is super smart, and she loves to research. She worked in the prison system as a nurse, so she had lots of jobs. So the jail where the woman on trial, Donna Adelson, who's the mother-in-law of Dan Markel, who her daughter married, who they murdered. They murdered, shot him in his driveway or his garage. They hired someone stupid. So her son, Charlie, is now in prison for the rest of his life. And he had I would say he had a very shallow life, but a good life, Their dentist, it's just unbelievable. Jewish. And what happened was the son-in-law, Dan Markel, he was becoming more wanting to keep kosher and just becoming more religious, and wanted his children, I think having 2 sons set him on that direction. Anyway, you guys, it's fascinating. So Patty's Playhouse, so she talks about it, but she also talks about her life. But she's a researcher, and she comes from the real estate angle. So she now is a agent, broker, something or other, right? And she lives in Tallahassee. So she has a perspective of the different places in Tallahassee, how people in Tallahassee are. Any of the players from Tallahassee. But she's fascinating, and now she's going to school, taking classes to be sort of like a detective. I don't know, she's just educating herself. I was thinking, okay, and she had 1 to 2 hour lives, right? How, and she has usually, she's, okay, y'all, if you're not interested, you can think, Tracy, you need to see somebody, but I can't explain it. And what's fine is when you find these YouTube channels, they're your obsession, but nobody in my life has this obsession, and Beverly really can't hear it anymore. There's sometimes I make her listen to it, what I have to say about it. I don't even want to make you guys listen to it, just is enough. I'm obsessed, whether I'm talking about it or not. And now I've become obsessed with this woman. And I just think and now there's a young lady's been missing, 12 or 13, and nobody's really looking for her. And her reverend and 1 or 2 other people are trying to do what they can to get people to look for her. And she's a grandma, and she's, she's going here, going there. She's remarried. It's just interesting. She's an interesting human being. So, and she's just no nonsense. She reminds me of people I grew up with, right? Just no nonsense. And she's, as amazing as she is, she also she used to be really overweight, she said, and she's lost a lot of weight. And as confident as she is in some skills, she's really, and she talks about it, and I understand it. She doesn't like to call people, reach out to people who are, quote, quote, kind of big in this story. Because she's kind of why would they talk to me, kind of thing, which is fascinating because the woman's so flippin' smart and so driven. I'm I liked everything. I went back and liked everything because that's how your channel grows. And I made a comment because, wow. I mean, what a role model. Jeez Louise, amazing. And I always like to see what top she's wearing, but she's super smart, and but her insights are wonderful. So anyway, y'all, I know, I don't know what it is. Now I will say this, there's other things going on, and I'm very particular about what I get obsessed with. So there's a trial in Massachusetts, this Karen Reed, I do not follow that. People seem to be wackadoodles. Now I like this show called Surviving the Survivor, STS. Depends on what lawyers they have on to talk about it, but mostly I'd watch about Dan Markel. And So now the man who did the shooting, how do you walk up to someone in their driveway and just shoot him between the eyes? Twice. But what's interesting, then his ex-wife, she was interviewed, and these people are like socio-psychopaths. Seriously, Jesus. But what started this is there was an interview with this couple that were friends of Danny Markel, called the Greenbergs, right? And I was watching this because I'm trying to just look, for new content. So they're releasing different interviews of people. And this was a couple, newer friends of his. And I guess he would go, I can't remember, the guy's a vet. I don't remember how they met. Maybe at church, at synagogue, I don't remember. But I thought, and the wife and him, I thought, something's wrong here in this interview. Something didn't feel right. And I thought, what's going on? The woman was like really enjoying saying things about this Danny, like about his sex life and this and that and all the women. And I thought, what are you doing? Like, what? And making, all kinds of, her assumptions. And they're almost like, yeah, sometimes they'd say, Danny, you can't hang out with us. Kind of just, I thought, rather rude. And I don't know. I think this wasn't that long after he died. I don't know, though. It's the weirdest thing, because I'm watching it thinking, who are these people? And it was almost like the wife was just so happy spilling the tea, is the feeling I got. No, maybe you're nervous, whatever. The husband seemed a little bit more like, I think you want to tell her, shut up. What's my feeling? I could be wrong. But he didn't. So I just thought, this is weird. And then there's a woman named Tamara who is really good friends with Wendy and Danny. I think she went to Harvard with Danny. These people are all really educated and smart. And he was a law professor at FSU. So, excuse me, I cannot be allergic to oat milk. So, they start talking about this Tamara and about how she was inserting herself and saying things to this wife. And so I was like, I don't know you. And this stuff, really, I thought rather rude and terrible, actually. Somebody's just died. And why are you being like that? I don't know. I got weird vibes. That's all I can say. In Tamara's interview, which was the next day, is one of the most heartfelt, painful of a normal human being's talking to this detective because she feels like something is wrong and that Wendy's family has something to do with it. And she's processing it like she doesn't really want to say it, right? I think she's in disbelief, but at the same time, she's angry and upset because they shot one of her favorite people. So, but this Tamara, this couple, this one's like, well, yeah, well, we didn't really know her. I don't know how important she acts like, Danny didn't really have interest in her. And I thought, hey, good morning. Any news on the baby? Give my roommate all the privacy she needs. If she comes down and I'm talking, I just stopped. I forgot where I was. Oh yeah, Tamara. So it is, I wish I could link things, but I can't. And probably you don't want to see it, but she talked about how the couple, Wendy and Dan Markel, people had to choose sides. It was like Team Wendy, Team Danny, and he really didn't want to get divorced. And the whole thing is terrible. Terrible person. This whole family is. And how he's treated. All because he didn't want his children to relocate to South Miami. Crazy. Anyway, so Tamara's doing this interview and trying to express this stuff, and you can see her in real time, like coming to understanding. It was heartfelt. And I thought, she said, and the thing is, her emotional IQ is high. She talked about how she would not get into that game of, I'm on Team Danny, I'm on Team Wendy. She just wanted to support her friends. And And you juxtapose it with this Greenberg couple and this woman just saying terrible things about Tamara. Really, really. Not even just unkind, terrible. I think you're one of the closest people in your life was murdered, shot down in his garage. Why are you judging like that? Like, you can see Tamara trying to be balanced, and then as she thinks about it and the experiences, so she knew Wendy's family because she grew up in the same town, but they weren't close, right? Because I think Tamara's not Jewish, and she knew her family. And she said when she went by the house, Wendy's house, to see the boys and to check, she said, she said something wasn't right in my gut. And her parents were there, and they kind of siloed Wendy off, so you couldn't really talk to her. And she said all of a sudden there's this another friend she never heard of there, like wanting interference. I'm sorry, what? But the dad wouldn't look her in the eye. And she said, I was looking at him thinking, you have, I'm probably making this up, but you're involved. And she said he couldn't look her in the eye. And she knew. She got sicker and sicker. And she always had a relationship, passing, talking relationship, as you do with any of your friends' parents, right? Anyway, but she was just so, like, you wanted to hug her, right? And these other people I wanted to slap. So, yeah. But what made me think about this is there's all kinds of people, right? So fascinating how people get involved in this and how they, what they bring to the YouTube true crime community. A woman named Fancy Fiction. She's not my favorite. I don't know, she's a little snarky in a way that I don't find appealing. But she started one of her things off saying, not to judge people. So I guess now people are listening what the Greenberg said or tearing up this poor Tamara. Shame on everyone. Watching both together. And Tamara's like a good person and an adult kind of thing. She's not sensationalizing, well, Danny did this and Danny said that and da-da-da. You never know, like one-on-one relationships, what the feelings are. How can you, what's sacred to people? I just, anyway, so it's all about humans, right? But anyway, Patty's Playhouse, she's fascinating, really neat lady. And so what they do is they do lives. One day I can do that, but obviously, if you have a lot of people in your life, you need a moderator and someone like that. But it would be fun to do with a group of y'all that, my OGs. So I have to figure that. That's something I want to figure out. And figure out memberships and all this fun stuff and what content and all this. But anyway, but she's so smart, and she knows, I think when she knows what she knows, right? But she's not confident in other areas, but God, apparently, she can research. There was someone who had reached, and I was thinking about this because I have a good friend, Cheryl Spalding, I grew up with. I didn't grow up with, but high school. Junior high and high school, I don't remember. Anyway, and I don't remember. Like, some people can think I know the ending or I know why I moved on. I don't remember with her. And what's making me think about it, I'm finding all these amazing cards she wrote me. And I have this yearbook, or scrapbook from my freshman year in college that I'm going to show y'all. But she gave it to me. And I don't know, I was thinking about reaching out to her. But see, the thing is, I got to look up on my yearbook how you exactly spelled her last name. And I don't know. So I think, and I've kind of put out in the universe, she could be gone for all I know. I feel like she had some mental health issues. Why can't I remember? And why don't I, did she move away? Or I feel like maybe she started separating from me because I think she felt like she was going to be a train wreck and didn't want to involve me. I don't know. I'm just like, and it's interesting. But I there's a DVD, a video I'm gonna watch on YouTube about ADHD versus depression and the whole thing, and memory loss, or I wouldn't say it's memory loss, it's just I can't retrieve it, right? I'm talking, 1982. But it makes me, when I read all this stuff, so maybe it was traumatic how he parted. I just choose not to remember. That's where the EMDR, I'm gonna get an appointment. I'm gonna make an appointment for whenever I can get an appointment this week. I'm gonna find somebody and get busy on that. But yes, I have 2 tests. I have an eye thing, and then just a checkup and to talk about whether I should go to a retina specialist because of my floaters. I just want to go and have it checked out. And then I think the following week, yeah, I have to find my book. Where's my book? Anyway, I'll find my book. Then I'm going sometime to get a physical and my blood work. I'm really curious about that to see is there something going on with my blood work. But yeah, so that's what's happening, and yeah. So it was an interesting experiment this weekend. Anyway, Donald Adelson is going to trial next month, and Lord knows. Y'all, I don't, and then we're hopeful that her daughter will be arrested. It's just, and what's so, okay, let me finish this. So what's sad is, so there was 2 sons. They were like maybe 3 and 4, something like that, when the father was murdered. And they denied access most all the time to his parents. So these poor children have grown up in this cesspool. Who knows what they were saying about the father. And what's interesting, there's a couple people who come on Surviving the Survivor. You just meet interesting people. So there's this guy called Louis Baptiste, young guy, and he was, he calls him Professor Markel, was made the biggest influence on his life, and not only how he taught, but he said he always talked about his kids. Every lecture he managed to bring in his kids. His door, he had pictures the kids had done. What an amazing father he was. And but they say that Danny brought people together, whether it's personal or business, and there's another lawyer, Stephen Webster, who's older than Baptiste, and Danny had said to him, you need to check out Louis Baptiste. I think you two would be great in business together. And they are, and they're so thankful to him for finding each other. It's just awesome people out there. But Stephen Webster was Danny's last attorney because, he really loved Wendy. And when he finally accepted that this is bad, he went ballistic and started, his children started saying, Grandma thinks you're stupid or this or that. So 2 things. He claimed Wendy lied on her financial disclosure, which is, if they could prove that, is bad for a lawyer. She could lose her license or be admonished, even assuming her lawyer who did it. And then he was having, so the judge had ruled in his favor that the children could not be relocated, and that was it, no more discussion. So then he was going to have a motion that the grandmother, Donna Adelson, who's on trial for murder, could not be alone with the grandchildren without supervised people there, because he was sick of and he knew she was poisoning them against him. So none of that happened because guess what? He was murdered. But so you wonder, these poor children and the Markels, the grandparents, you know what? Again, amazing people. And Ruth, the mother's more vocal, very successful. They're from Canada, and she's so smart. And she wrote a book, but she got to know a lot of the YouTubers. She embraced them. And, in a lot of these cases, it's divided, the guilty, the not guilty, and pretty much the whole community is united, other than, stupid trolls, that this happened. But she now has really made good friends with a lot of the YouTubers who, by the way, are the ones that keeping this going and getting information. But I will say this, she does not badmouth them. Well, she's got other people to do it. But I think it was the second kid had a bar mitzvah, or maybe, no, it was probably the first kid. And apparently a video got leaked. And now, meanwhile, the grandmother couldn't go because she was in jail. She'd been arrested. The other grandmother, the bad grandmother. And then, so they had a video leaked, and Wendy was wearing like really the most god-awful outfit with her boobs pushed out and trying to hug her kid. It was weird. It looked really like something from a brothel. Bizarre. So people were commenting on it, and Ruth got the word out to the people that she's friends with. Stop talking about this. This is a big, important thing in this child's life. Please stop talking about what she was wearing or anything about this. And also, people are going up to these kids and bullying them. And you're probably saying like, oh, your mother and grandmother are murderers, kind of stuff. Kids have done nothing wrong, right? Can you imagine their life? They destroyed these children's lives all so they could raise them and they wouldn't be kosher. Wild. Just wild. So who knows how these poor children are. But what the Markells did is one of Danny's friends ran into her somewhere, and they've had 1, 2, 3, 4 trials already, something like that. So they have to go to Tallahassee. But one of Dan's friends ran into her and introduced herself and said, what can I do for you? And it was grandparents' rights. So they actually had legislation. This woman happened to be involved in the legislature, and she knew people. And they actually have legislation now about if somebody's murdered or they're in the middle of that kind of thing. But it seems like the mother only lets the grandparents see the children right before trial. So she can say, yes, of course they see them. But this woman is such a class act. So grace is the word. And I think Stephen Webster, the lawyer for Dan, was really bad-mouthing Wendy, I think. And next thing you know, the next time he's like, I apologize. I just became overwhelmed with my anger because Ruth had called him and said, look, you don't do that because the children are suffering. And what a lot of the people are doing going on these shows is making a record so the kids can watch and hear how much their father loved them. So it's wild. It's so many facets, and then all the different lawyers talking, and they're interesting. And, then there's kind of people accusing people of being, like, trying to help the Adelsons. The whole thing. It's fascinating. Anyway, so I'm getting ready to gear up for trial. I think, well, is this the best way? But you know what? I can't help it. I enjoy it, and I'm not going to make myself not watch it. I still listen to good things at night and, work. But when the trial happens, I will be very obsessed and involved and watching as much as I can at work quietly and listening to the talking heads. Anyway, so back to Patty's Playhouse. Yeah, she's just been interesting. There's so many interesting people, like real people. And just as more she talks about things, I think, my God, just amazing. And to be, and believes in education and doesn't necessarily want degrees, but wants, So she apparently can research anything. And it's interesting she does it. So Wendy Adelson, the mother of the children, apparently she's claiming they're moving to Austin because they can't have a life in South Miami. Well, people are upset, but terrible that, they treat the boys like that. But so she had a condo and she's renting, and Patty went through the video and explaining how gross and disgusting and how terrible this thing was. And she was, as a realtor, was showing the different, it was fascinating of why would you do this? And like, they're too dirty, she said. Someone's gonna pay you want $5,000 a month, and you furnish, and it looks like absolute crap. So it was fascinating how she went through that, the stuff she knows. Anyway, enough of that. So I'm going to finish my apple. I'm gonna get my banana bread because it probably takes an hour, right? And then I want to do quiche, and that takes a good 50 minutes. So it's 8 o'clock. That'll be good. Yeah. And then make my hamburger meat. I got to get my food set up for the week, you guys. But you know, I have a lot right now in my freezer at work, so I need to eat that down. But I think I need to run by and get like some salad stuff because I feel like I need salad. And I've eaten up. I'm doing a good job, pretty much, of eating things up, and just buying a little bit at a time. So, and I'm collecting some pumpkin stuff. I think I'm almost done. Pumpkin Palooza will be coming your way. All right, well, that's it. And yeah, I feel a little reinvigorated. And, you know, like I said, 60 will be here before you know it. And I will at least have everything checked out and know where I am and know what I need to do. Because I do feel like something's a little off. But, you know, I'm using my autoimmune drug, so we'll see. And I don't think I'll see my gyno person until the end of my treatment, and then we'll talk, I guess, about everything and what's the next step. And it's nice that she's not calling like you have to come in right now. So we'll see what my options are or how she wants to move forward. And I'm just amazed that my intuition led me there. Y'all, listen to your intuition. You know, like all of a sudden I was talking to my friend and she's like, you need to go see Nadine. And I did. And, you know, it took me actually 2 weeks because it wasn't the easiest making an appointment, but I finally just called and figured it out as I was being pushed. So it's interesting how not to ignore that voice in you. And I'm working on that, especially if it's something I don't want to do, giving it some thought. Like, you know, again, it's so much better to have done something in that terrible worry period, or, you know, just almost, there's a book called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And it basically is whatever the thing you don't want to do that day, eat it first thing so you don't have it hanging on you all day long. Eat that frog. So I'm going to go eat a few frogs, and I'll check in with you guys. And like I said, I have fun stuff to post, and I just took the weekend off. My brain rested, my hands rested, my shoulders rested. And now I got to kick butt all week. But the hardest thing for me is not to carry a bunch of stuff at one time, because this arm, and you know, it's interesting because my jean jackets back in the day would have like rub here because of my purse would be here. But yeah, is to be conscious of what I can and can't do. And like I said, got groceries, I take more steps, you know, more trips, carrying less. It's not a bad thing. And how about I try at work not to carry that much? So that's another thing. Okay, you guys, you take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey guys, so here is my banana bread, and here is my quiche. It has pico de gallo, a pepper, spinach, a little leftover ricotta, some cheddar, and eggs, and a little bit of cream. So let's try it. Okay, so let's try the quiche, right? Full of vegetables and spinach stuff. Good. I think next time, you guys, I took a shower, and now I have like, when you're flying thing, like my ears underwater. But super good. I might put just a tad of taco seasoning in next time, but okay. I took a bite. So I used one of these European butters. I'm not sure, but I added some chocolate chips, not a lot, but they're actually little lava chips. So they kind of are more than a chocolate chip. Pretty good. Like, I've become like my mom, like, oh no, it doesn't taste good. I didn't tell you times how to fish out food she's been ready to throw in the trash that people at work absolutely love. So I didn't really have nuts. That's fine. I was craving banana bread. Wegmans was so expensive. And they might not have chemicals in theirs, I don't know, but the Trader Joe's box where you don't need bananas is toxic. So anyway, I'm working 2 days and then I'm off a day for all kinds of testing. So my quiche will get me through, and then I got 2 more plum cots and my apple. I gotta try to remember to make a fruit smoothie. Maybe tomorrow I'll do that. I have about 50 minutes left before I have to leave for work. So I'm gonna eat that and catching up with some bills and looking at my schedule. I had to reschedule an eye appointment, so that's fine. And I have the vets tomorrow and then my testing on Wednesday. So I can't believe it's already Labor Day, y'all. It's crazy. Friday I might go look at mattresses just to get an idea of what I want and what it's gonna cost. And yeah. And then on the 4th, a Wednesday, so a week from this Wednesday, I have my physical and blood work. So we're moving along. And then from there, I need a thing for colonoscopy. And I want to go to an orthopedic to talk about my hands. And then after that, I'm going to make an appointment with my ENT to figure out how to get my head clear without drugs. And then I want to set up a hearing test just to see where I'm at, and then get an idea of what it's going to cost to get at least one hearing aid. So yeah, just information, right? Information is power. So yeah, so I'm gonna finish up this, but I did want to try this for y'all. This is, I did it one day, but I don't think I posted it. Anyway, it's Trader Joe's ranch seasoned cashews, and believe it or not, it is not toxic. Other, oils and stuff, but Yucca doesn't test for that. So if they can make this not toxic, why can't they make everything? So my opinion's kind of the same. I love ranch dressing. With the powder, it feels like uncooked ranch dressing. I don't know. It's not my thing. Just, yeah, this is not my thing. Maybe if this was mixed in with other things, it's not gonna close. But I'm gonna return it, because that's what we do here. We return things. Yeah, so I wouldn't get them, but most people probably would like them. It's interesting. Has cashew, it may contain peanut, almond, Brazil nut, coconut, hazelnut, macadamia nut, pecan, pine nut, pistachio, and walnut. Y'all, that says cashews, right? That's a little strange, I think. Just saying. All right, well, that is it. And yeah, food first, bills and then food first. So yeah, I'm proud that I did not buy banana bread. I made it. And you really don't need mixes. I have I had bananas that were going bad, but I don't need to buy one thing. And yeah, so if there's something I want, I'm not buying a cookie. I have to make a cookie. Thank God I'm more lazy than not, but I feel like I'm in a pool. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm gonna go eat, get myself together, and yeah, so you guys have a good one. And I will maybe meet you back at my garage tomorrow, and get up early, get out there, and I already have to have 4 things, and I have at least that in containers, but I like to give myself an hour just to start putting stuff that I don't want. Just try to get moving again. All right, so I'll meet you there in my garage. Take care.